what it's supposed to do. Hey, y'all.
What's up? What's
Good
up?
morning.
Good morning. Good
Noon.
afternoon.
Sorry, we're a little
Uh,
tardy. Technology was technology.
hmm But you know what? It's good to be alive, but
That
it's
part.
better to live.
Hey, Brent Jones.
We're not only alive, but we are living the best life that we can, and we want to help you to live the best life you can through Marriage Encounter. So we are back in, is this week number 3?
Yep.
Of December. Wow. I tell you what, this is the fastest year recorded on the planet. Uh, but anyway, we're excited about our marriage encounter on today, and we've been talking about being in the basement and building foundations. And now that you've established your foundation, the next thing you got to create is what we call load-bearing walls.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about those load-bearing walls, and these are the structures in your house that hold weight.
Mm-hmm.
You move these the wrong way, something is going to come down. So, when you watch all those DIY, fix your house, all those random shows that are on these new flipper shows and all that. The one thing that they always say is you have to make sure if this is a load bearing wall, we can't take it out. Or
Right.
if we do take it out, we've got to create other structures in order to hold this. Otherwise, whatever is above it or below it will fall.
Mm-hmm. Whatever's above it in particular. And if you think about a house, I mean, obviously the 4 squares of the house are always load bearing walls, but normally down through the middle of the house, they have at least 1 or 2, sometimes 3, depending on the size of the house, that support. And normally they're hidden behind some drywall, or if you have a free span or open span house, there's a steel girder, or perhaps what they call pressed wood that's pressed to about 6 inches in thickness that helps support everything that's underneath it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, these load bearing walls are critical. And in your marriage, the load bearing walls are critical also. What things do you have in place that's going to support the weight of everything else that you're putting on it? All right. Now, one thing you got to remember, not every wall in your house is load bearing.
True.
Not every wall in your marriage is load bearing, but there are some that are critical for the survival and the success and the flourishing of your marriage. And that's what we want to talk about on today, those load bearing walls.
And then when we start to think about the things that you've been ignoring, so when we think about those load bearing walls, some things you've been ignoring are carrying more weight than you realize. Sometimes, you are stressed or you've been doing a lot, or, this is the Christmas season. And so sometimes just those holidays and trying to get to the end of the year deadlines, and just, there's a lot of different things that happen during this time of year. We experience a lot of loss. All of those things can be things that are bearing weight, yet you don't really realize that they've been holding the weight that they've been holding.
So they're actually supporting or causing the foundation to begin to buckle.
Yeah.
And if you don't recognize it, then you'll start to see your foundation shake or get weak. Let me give you another one too. Sometimes things infest those load bearing walls. Termites is a big one, right? And when termites get in there, they eat away at the substrate that holds everything up. And you don't recognize it until you start seeing cracks in the walls, cracks around your roof line or whatever. And when you trace it all the way back, what you have allowed or what has gotten in there is an infestation of something that was foreign to that wall. And even in marriage, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you allow stuff to creep in that you don't even know is there. As a matter of fact, I was messing with some treated wood this morning, and I looked in there and I could tell that this was the burrowing of termites, even though it was treated. So it sat out there long enough where it lost its capacity to be in the ground, and the termites started to attack it. In marriage, ladies and gentlemen, you got to be careful, because if you're
who's
not,
your termite?
yeah, woo, You know, termites got names.
Yikes.
Termites got wavy hair. Termites are 6'3", strapping like me. Yeah. You know, termites come in all shapes and fashions, but they have one thing that they want to do, and that's eat away at the foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about load bearing wall communication. So communication is one of the things that we have to have in order to make sure that the structure is strong. If it's weak, the whole emotional house will eventually topple over. We've seen those houses that are leaning, that are tilting, you know, especially when your grandpa built that back bedroom, you know, and the floor ain't straight. So are we shutting down instead of speaking up? Are we listening to understand or listening to win the argument?
Mm.
Are we listening to understand or are we listening so we got our counterpoint so that we can win this argument?
And if you're listening to win the argument, you've really shut down everything that the other person is hearing or saying, because your mind is turning over evidence, facts, what you know you can counterpunch with. All of that's running through your mind, and you're really not hearing anything. Even though you're nodding, I'm not saying in this situation, even though you're nodding and chinning and grinning and agreeing, you're not hearing anything. But here's the fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot build a vision for 2026 on missed calls, miscues, and more importantly, miscommunication. You cannot build your vision for your next year unless you eradicate some of these termites out of your 2025. And so let's get busy. Call the exterminator.
So
whatever that is.
The other thing is that we are assuming instead of asking questions. So sometimes the problem that we have is we have made some assumptions about what is going to happen or how things are going to happen, or you know what the other person is thinking. The big one, a huge mistake, is trying to predetermine what they're thinking. Oh, I believe that you're thinking this or you're thinking that. Unless you're God, you don't really know what I'm thinking. So I think that's one of those things when we start to look at communication that can really whittle it away. That if we are assuming instead of asking, if we are not having those full conversations, if we are having those breakdowns around our communication, that can be a huge piece.
But we play God all the time. I said play God. We play God all the time because we think we know the answers of what somebody else is thinking. And we do it all the time in marriage and just in relationships all the time. How many of y'all ever, we're going to have a conversation and you have already surmised in your mind what your spouse is going to say, how they're going to respond, and all of that. And based upon your predetermined outcome that has yet to be revealed, you start making assumptions, right? And assuming that something, when they say this, I'm going to do that. All that is, how can I say this, a horrible way to build load buried walls, because you're breaking down your communication.
And I think the other thing too is that, you know, because sometimes we're playing off of historical data and these things have happened before, doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen in the future.
Right. But that's hard though. That's real challenging, because if it happened the last 27 times, I'm going to bet on 28 most of the time. Everybody else is. So, I mean, I do agree with you 100%. But once you see a pattern established, I mean, it's going to take double the amount of time to break that cycle and break that pattern. Not only out of your spouse's mind as to what they assume you're going to do, but out of your own behavior, right? I mean, you have to challenge yourself first, right? And when you challenge yourself first, what pattern, what habit do I need to break? Okay, because I mean, people will see stuff, and everybody's going to make an assumption based on the data that they have available, regardless if it's factual or not, right? I'm going to make an assumption. So, I mean, at those moments, I think it'd be good to ask your spouse that question.
Yeah.
So hey, that's how come you always get home late every time you leave before I leave, but you always get home later than what I do.
No, that's not the way to ask it.
That's not the way to ask it.
No, because that
Huh.
that makes an assumption, and it's accusatory. And so
Hmm.
there's some better ways to ask that question when you start to say, hey, like, I'm concerned about you when I know that we left at X, Y, this time or that time,
Mhm.
and you didn't get home at the right time or whatever you just said. But
Mhm.
because otherwise it becomes I'm accusing you of where you at, what you doing, when the real question is, or should be, my concern for you and for your well-being.
Okay. I can rock with that. So then we need to learn how, fellas, we need to learn how to and ladies, we need to learn how to rephrase those questions so that they don't seem accusatory. Right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Because what you just said, if you what you and I didn't I mean, I was listening, but I'm multitasking. So I heard you, but I didn't hear you. And so, but what I heard was it sounded very accusatory
Mhm.
versus asking a question, hey, from the standpoint of I'm concerned, um, because I'm concerned about your safety. So this is why I'm asking this question, not where you been, why you gotta,
All
you see what
right.
I'm saying?
Let's trouble those waters a little bit more. So
Tell me
if
the question again. Tell me what's your statement that you just
I
said.
think the statement we made was, uh, why do we leave at the same time or whatever, and then you always get home way later than what I do, whether it's the male or the female.
Right.
That's an assumption that
And
most couples have.
the question would be, hey, we left at the same time. I got home before you did. I was concerned that something happened when you didn't call.
So then, would I be telling the truth though?
But aren't you concerned that something
I
happened?
am concerned that something happened.
Well, that's the question. I'm concerned that something happened to you when you don't get home at the same time we did, that I did. And so then the person gets the opportunity to say, "Oh, I stopped at the store," or
Mhm.
"Oh, I did XYZ. That's why I did get home right at the same time."
Mhm.
Otherwise, you sound like somebody's daddy, and in a marriage, daddies ain't here.
Mhm. Well, I mean, here's the point we're trying to make. Y'all like, man, boy, y'all all right, fans? Y'all
We
all right?
good.
We good, but these
This
are
is
things that
not.
happen.
This is not. I mean, but it's real
But this is
stuff.
real stuff. This is real stuff. And even if you've never done it, and I doubt that you haven't, it hits your mind like, wait a minute, why is it? So what we're trying to do is kind of role play a little bit, so you can kind of feel the tension that begins to arise somewhat in your happily ever after. But as my wife said, by just rephrasing the question, it lets the steam out of the room, right? So there's ways to say things. We're talking about communication and load bearing walls. There's ways to say things, and oftentimes we need to think about what we say before we say it.
Right, because the thing is, yes, you might be like, well, dang, where you go? But I think it's how you present it that
Mhm.
either creates an argument or a conversation.
Mhm.
So, I think that's the real thing.
And that should be on both sides, okay? Uh, because if the spouse, whichever male or female, is concerned about where the other one is, then the other spouse ought to at least accept the fact that, hey, they are concerned. So let me explain, or let me, I don't know, do whatever I need to do so that this situation is rectified. Otherwise, we start putting weight on load bearing walls that it was never really designed
Or
to handle.
maybe we're putting weight on non-load bearing walls.
Mm.
And that's when we put weight on non-load bearing walls, because the load bearing walls are designed to hold it.
So much. Yeah.
Right. But so if we're putting weight in spaces or in places that were never designed, those places are the places that can break down.
Mhm. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, life has a way of pulling couples, you know this, in opposite directions, right? work, stress, kids, caregiving, finances are just good old fashioned exhausted. You know, sometimes you're just tired, right?
Baby.
And all of
It's
that,
been a week.
yeah, all of that weighs on you, right? So life has a way of just creating weight. But if your walls are strong, they should hold that amount of weight.
Yeah, and we're going into Christmas and Kwanzaa, and one of the principles of Kwanzaa is unity. And so let's just talk about that. Unity doesn't mean you agree on everything. Doesn't mean we are two very strong-minded people. I promise you, we don't agree on everything. We don't agree on a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that disagreement has to be at a place that breaks us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I get to state my opinion. He gets to state his opinion. Then somewhere along the line, we figure out how to compromise on those things. And so unity means we stand together.
Mm-hmm.
Even when life is trying to separate us, when life is trying, we take the time. After the 20th, we are shut down. We've got a couple of coaching things that we're going to do with some individuals. But for the most part, we're going to be shut down for Christmas. We're going to be at the farm.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't trying to really go anywhere. You might see me you're going to see me at Kwanzaa, but other than that, until New Year's Eve, we'll come on here on Monday, but we're just chilling. We're going to be at home. We got stuff to do. We need to declutter. We need to do some stuff. Okay. And so we're going to be at home, but that means that togetherness, when we are together, then we've got to figure out, what does that look like? How do we continue to move with that? So are you a team or just two tired individuals surviving the same schedule? And I would say that sometimes we are both. Sometimes we are tired and we're we had a pretty big week and
big
weekend.
week.
And I would say that I was very proud to say that my husband, I was grateful for, I guess proud isn't really the word, it's more grateful that he really stepped up and said, hey, how do I help you here? How do I help you there? How do I help you make sure that these things get done? In a way that really did lift the burden for some of the things that we needed to get done over this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We did a really big dinner for our church and had some great help. But it was one of those things that we wanted to give to the church, and we didn't really want a lot of church people to help with it. Not because we didn't want their help, but because we wanted, they serve a lot. And so we wanted to be able to give to them. And so it was good that we were able to work on that together. Are you connected or just coexisting?
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes you can get into a routine.
Well,
you
both.
Can get into a ritual, and you can just be doing, and then you're next to each other, but you're not doing it together.
Right.
And are your outside voices louder than your inside voices? So who are those people that are talking in your ear, in your spirit, in your house? Who are those people that are just making a difference,
and
positive or negative?
Yeah, I was just going to say, because some voices you need to silence, right? I mean, if when they leave you, you are worse than when you were when they came. That's a voice that you need to silence.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody in the world is vying for attention, for somebody's attention. A baby right now is crying because they want attention. A dog is whining because they want attention. Everybody in the world.
Bella definitely wanted to come with me today.
So everybody's vying for attention. The problem is when you allow unwanted attention into your space, right? When you allow unwanted attention. Notice what I said, you allow it, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got to recognize who is vying for your attention, number one. Number two is just as critical. What are their motives?
Yeah.
If their motives are to bring destruction into your relationship, then that's somebody you need to silence.
Yeah.
Right. However that looks like, here's the truth. Couples are.
We're gonna flip these. We're gonna flip them.
Oh, okay.
Here's the truth. Couples are stronger when God is in the blueprint, not as decoration, but as the structural support beam. Now, here's the thing. When you do construction and when you are remodeling an area, sometimes you do things that look really cute.
Hmm.
I make this beam. I'm putting up these beams in my kitchen or my living room. Some of those are decorative.
Hmm.
Some of those are holding some stuff up. So we've got to figure out which ones are really decorative and which ones are there to really create structure.
And my wife mentioned it. Sometimes you have to look at decluttering, right? I cleaned out a closet underneath the steps. And I mean, by the time I got done, we blessed some people at the Goodwill on Saturday. Lord have
We got
mercy.
some more blessings.
We got some more blessings to hand out. But I handed out about 6 bags worth of blessings to the Goodwill. And it had been sitting there unused. And it was cluttering and taking up space. And when you live in the country, you need to be able to look down the cracks and crevices of your house.
Baby.
Trust me on that. And we don't have no problems.
None.
But we don't try and invite problems either. So you got to declutter, right? You got to get stuff out of there. And in this season of looking at your structural load-bearing walls, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to require prayer.
Yeah.
It's going to require discernment, a little fasting, and a whole lot of humility, right? Not perfection, but alignment. But let me say it real simple for the folk in the back. It's going to require work, baby.
Work.
Yeah.
And this is not bad work.
Mm-mm.
This is work towards creating something that is powerful, not just for you, but for the generations that are watching you.
It's foundational work. And I don't mean foundational as in building the structure of a foundation. I'm talking about foundational that'll last generations. Because right now, if you are a married couple and you have children, your children are evaluating marriage based on the model that they see. Okay. And trust me, your model is way more influential than what they see on TV, because it don't take long that you figure out, that's some fake stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that daily living it in and out, going through ups and downs, challenges, and still hanging in there, that's the model. That's the foundation that you want to represent. So when we are inviting God into our decisions, there it is. Are you inviting God into your decisions? Is God helping you make your decisions?
Is he part of the threefold cord, or do you just invite him after y'all get in trouble?
Right. Because, we sing a whole lot of songs we don't need to be singing. Fix it, Jesus. That means it was broke. Sometimes you the one broke it, right? And now you're asking God to fix it. You knew you was breaking. You knew you was snap, crackle, and popping when you was putting pressure on it. Now you talking about, fix it, Jesus. That way you should have not have broke it in the first place, right? Are we praying together? Big one right there, right? Are we spiritually strengthening what holds us up? Are we working on that daily? How? Through affirmation, through encouragement, through conversation, right? Sometimes you just got to sit together and have conversations, spur conversations, watch a movie, all of these things that bring you together, right? So some couples are leaning on things that were never designed to carry the weight of marriage. Mm-hmm. Money, never designed to carry the weight of marriage. Busyness, children, routine, avoidance.
Because those kids are going to grow up
and they go
and
away.
They're moving out.
They go away.
Praise the Lord. Yeah.
Silence, avoidance, right? It'll get better on its own.
Baby, no, it won't. You got to do some maintenance.
I don't know nothing that's ever gotten better on its own without some help, right? Or without some practice, right? Being strong instead of being honest.
You can't lean on something that keeps shifting. You cannot lean on something that is constantly moving. Your money is moving. Some days you got more than others.
Mm-hmm.
The things that are happening are changing. Seasons are changing.
Mm-hmm. And what you lean on eventually shapes your marriage, right? Have you ever had something?
What was this?
Well, that's shaping.
Matrix?
Yeah, no, that's shaping. See how I'm shaping? I'm shaping stuff, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had something that had weight on it for so long, it begins to take the shape of that? And then I'm thinking of like 2x4.
Well, but
like a tree or 2x4. And then when you remove the weight, it's still jacklegged.
Yeah.
Why? Because it succumbed to the pressure of the weight. It didn't break, but the weight forced it to change how it operated. It
Yeah.
changed its physical structure.
Well, think about that tree. We have this like weird little leaning tree thing in our backyard. And the thing is that when the tree, you're supposed to retrain it. So it's supposed to, be wibbly wobbly. And if you don't retrain it, then it'll just keep going the way that it's going. And so there's some things in our marriages that we need to prop up so it can be retrained. Okay. It's where, so when we start to think about what we're doing this week, what you lean on eventually shapes your marriage. This week we're asking, is what we're depending on actually dependable? Are you dependable?
Right.
Can your spouse depend on you?
Do you do what you say you're going to
do? Do you show up when you say you're going to show up?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, because just because you live in the same house don't mean you're doing the right thing. Okay.
Wow.
Isaiah 33:6 says, he will be the stability of your times. God stabilizes what life tries to shake. He strengthens what seems weak. He holds what we cannot.
He holds the weight of it, right?
Love
So
work.
A load-bearing check-in on your love work. What's been holding us up this year? Good or bad? All right. So record them both, but then figure out a strategy how to get rid of the bad. And I shouldn't say the bad is holding you up, it's stopping your flow.
Yeah. So when we talk about holding up, so that could be propping up, or it could be stopping us. So think about those things. What are the things that are holding us up? So that could be the things that are propping us up, or that could be the things that have kept us from making progress.
What needs to be reinforced in 2026? What do you need to put a skim up by to help support it, right? When a board is buckling, when you're on a foundation and it's one of the trusses that goes underneath the house, you can put boards on either side, run a screw all the way through it and squeeze them together to hold it in place. It's almost like you do with a broken leg. It's really the same thing structurally. All right. So what do you need to go along and undergird in your marriage? All right.
So what kind of cast do you need?
What kind of cast do you need? And who's going to write on your cast? Right. What pressure points have shown up lately, ladies and gentlemen? Where is the pressure being applied? And what are we leaning on that can't hold us anymore? That you need to release and let go, or let it fall over.
Yeah.
Right.
Let it go.
Let it go. And whatever the movie is, let it go. Let
Frozen.
it go. Who?
Frozen.
Oh yeah. Frozen would be good right now because it's freezing. Right? Well, it ain't that bad. Not for me. It's not. All right. Where do we need God? Where do you need God to strengthen you at?
Small conversations that carry big weight. So these are conversations that you need to be having with your spouse this week. Next week, we will be talking about reinforcement. Strengthen what will carry you into 2026. So be thinking about this. Make sure you're doing your love work. I did post it in the group from last week. I got it. It was a little late because last week was
busy.
It was a crazy week.
Busy.
I'll do today's today. But make sure that you're doing your love work. We're not giving you this stuff because we don't have anything better to do, but because these are ways in which they're conversation starters. Okay. So that's the objective of them, is to be conversation starters for you to all have the conversation about how to strengthen your marriage.
Right. So don't lean on any more of what can't hold you.
Strengthen what does before you build what's coming next.
Right. And remember, as we always say, keep building your relationship with faith,
fun,
and forever
love.
And you know how we do it. Doggy style.